About a week ago, on a whim, I started streaming Stardew Valley here on my channel. I used to play it constantly in high school years ago, and I thought it'd be fun to chat and game. For the record, it totally is. My good friend Ofi Doki here on YouTube got inspired and started playing on her channel as well. I was very excited since I adore her and this game. When she booted it up and started out, I realized something very important. While Stardew Valley is often labeled as a cozy game, I believe it actually earns that title through challenge and long-term investment, not through ease or simplicity. Everyone says this game is cozy. It isn't, and that's exactly why it's so good. But before we go in depth on that, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Sunny Dionysus. I'm an artist, a YouTuber, and most of all, an annoyance. I'm fascinated by our digital age and how fandoms shape and reshape the stories they love. So I need to yap about it somewhere people may listen. If that sounds appealing, make sure to subscribe and like the video. Starting off, what is a cozy game? To be honest, it's very subjective. While some people would agree that for a game to be cozy, it has to have subdued graphics and little to no plot, that's not everyone else's experience. Looking at sites like Reddit, some people see Skyrim or Fallout as cozy games, when for others, they would not be considered ones. However, there are some conclusions that most people I've seen make about what a cozy game is. 1. It is not overly challenging. 2. It is not scary. 3. It does not include combat. One of my favorite games that fits these aspects perfectly is A Short Hike. A Short Hike is a delightful little game where you play as a small bird trying to climb a mountaintop to get cell service. As the game progresses, you collect small golden feathers to climb higher and higher, until suddenly you're at the top of the mountain. While some people may say it's boring or slow, I genuinely adore it for the character interactions and gameplay. Being a little guy flying through the air is cool in a vacuum, but when you struggled beforehand to reach any sort of height, it's satisfying as hell. Going over the list, the challenge aspect is minimal. The controls to fly are easy, but satisfying because you can get further the more you level up. It's obviously not scary or combative, but the character interactions and flying mechanics carry it. I don't finish many games, but when I finally reached the ending, I cried. The game stuck with me, not because it was high energy or combat based, but because of the vibes. The general feeling of good vibes are a huge part of what makes a game cozy, which is why it's so subjective. But what aura do these types of games have? For starters, color is a huge component. Games that are either too bright or too dark can be seen as extreme. Think of color like gameplay, where you have too much excitement and it can be stressful, too little and it's boring or dull. In my opinion, Midwestern fall weather is a good color palette to draw from. Lots of browns and a bit of green and yellow. This is, of course, subjective and flexible. Going back to A Short Hike, a small detail that enhances the scenery is the time of day. Sunset and sunrise are optimal for cozy games, and it's not only because of the color. The aura of just waking up early in a quiet but homey place is wonderful and can't really be beat. Another aspect is music. Music in cozy games is built pretty simple, but ultimately soothing and peaceful. It can vary in tune and intensity, but it doesn't try to be more than it is. Music is vital to immersion because it's what sets the tone and mood of the game. But what if you took all those cozy signals, from soft colors to gentle tunes, and wrapped them around a game that's actually pretty demanding? Enter Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is an indie farming simulator that is iconic for its pixel art aesthetic and long-term satisfaction-based gameplay. What I mean by that is that to truly enjoy Stardew Valley, you have to put in plenty of hours into it. Aspects like marriage and gradually building up your farm are not handed to you immediately. They're earned. Remember the 3 pillars of a cozy game I made up earlier? Let's go through that. 1. It is not overly challenging. Stardew Valley is incredibly challenging at first. Notably, it doesn't have any obvious tutorials for basic actions, such as fishing. While there are books in the library, lots of players don't really think to read all of them at first. Players, especially new ones, can struggle to find a footing in this world because the beginning is difficult. 2. It is not scary. While it's mostly a bright game, there are moments that stand out as kind of creepy to me. At night, walking back from the mines, you experience a type of stillness. Everything is darker than before. The usual hustle and bustle of the valley is almost completely erased. It feels weird, for lack of a better term. 3. It doesn't include combat. This one is pretty self-explanatory. The mines can have legitimate threats that can make you pass out. Of course, you don't die in Stardew, but combat is still a component that is pretty much unavoidable. So, why do people say Stardew is cozy? Not only because these aspects grow to be lesser in time, but it's also the vibes. And this game has it in spades. My favorite aspect of the visuals is how the seasons change with the colors and the music. It gives weight to time passing and makes you feel like the hours you put into it are tangible. The gameplay isn't too cluttered by dialogue and character arts, that is, if you want to play in solitude. But the option to marry is there. Side note, the NPCs in this game are mean as hell at first. It's satisfying when you finally befriend them, but I know plenty of players who bounce off of this game before they ever get to that point. Stardew Valley is largely inspired by Harvest Moon. For the most part, they share the same attributes, including but not limited to how you inherit your grandfather's farm and the main mechanics of farming. However, as soon as I started playing Harvest Moon, I noticed something important. It has 2 difficulty levels. The fuck do you mean 2 difficulty levels? Several optional tutorials? As a Stardew player for years, I was floored. Playing this game felt like a real sweet spot. While it does offer tutorials, they are almost always optional. Some of it is pretty difficult. I couldn't find my farming tools for the first 2 days, but otherwise it's intuitive. And when you're not farming, just wandering around the town is its own reward. The warm colors, the cozy layouts, the little details in every building, it's charming. Now, these 2 games are absolute behemoths in the farming simulator scene. But there's also a third one that I forgot to mention. Animal Crossing: New Horizons. Picture a spectrum from so easy it's a nap to so hard it makes you cry. Stardew Valley lives here. Harvest Moon lives here. And Animal Crossing lives all the way on the other side. Stardew Valley can be fairly inaccessible at first. especially without the community-led wiki. Harvest Moon is in the middle. It's a sweet spot. It holds your hand a bit at the start, but lets you take over as you play. Animal Crossing sits on the far end of the nap section. It starts out holding your hand through the first days, but quickly runs out of things to do. After a month, I wasn't playing because I wanted to. I was just clocking in for my virtual chores. The aesthetics, however, are absolutely peak. Nobody can deny that. With soothing colors and beautiful music, you really immerse yourself in the tiny world. However, when there's nothing to really do, visuals can only get you so far. So, why did a short hike resonate with me, but Animal Crossing didn't? Simple. It's a difference in length and content. To gain any traction in the former, you need to log in to do daily tasks and talk to your residents for weeks on end. Like I said, it becomes a chore. The overexposure made me quit the game after a month or so of playing, feeling dissatisfied. In my opinion, while a cozy game can be long or short, the amount of objectives should be equal to the amount of time sunk into it. If you're making a piece that doesn't have much to do but has immaculate vibes, designing it to be short can be a good way to get around this boredom problem. That being said, Stardew has a billion things to do, so the time frame of 100 plus hours is entirely appropriate. Stardew Valley has stuck to the consciousness of so many people because it rewards you for sticking with it through the difficulty in the long term. I hear the sentiment of, I don't play many video games, but I love Stardew Valley, often. And I think this is why. Non-gamers will start out pretty frustrated at the start, but the ones that stick to it ultimately feel way more accomplished than if their hand was held. Coziness is not given freely, it's earned.